not gonna have to turn pages a lot today.
I don't know who the other one.
Where's David at?
He's got vertigo.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Who's that? David?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, he's had that before.
Yeah.
How's Brenda doing?
She's doing fine. She's here today.
Good, good.
She don't have a page number listed on the offertory, I guess.
Well, you don't need that anyway.
I don't need that.
It's 5, I think. I just put, I set her up for it.
I just wanna make sure I wasn't overlooking something.
Yeah.
All right.
Think you're looking good from up here, brother.
Thank you, Bobby. I look good from up here too.
Camera don't lie, does it, Clint?
Just adds 20 pounds, but it don't lie. There it is. Okay. Well, so like I said in our text message, we'll be covering 2 sessions this morning, and I hope you had a chance to watch them. These are both very important, but I think we can combine them. The first session was on compassion, and the second session was on what he calls the steps to faith. And so we'll be covering those. I hope everybody had a chance to watch it, because really the compassion one, I think he went into some good material there when we're thinking about a systematic way of reaching people. It's not haphazard, right? There's a pattern to it. And first of all, before I get started, what did y'all take away from it? Anything that really stuck out to you?
Well, I like this 3 steps you're talking about
Mm-hmm.
in the compassion part, you know, and it's something that he said, you know, we like to start looking from our perspective instead of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, you know, that we have to constantly think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Anything?
You gotta meet people where they are now, and be sincere and know, you know, they use some of the terminology they use, but in my terms, it would be just be yourself, be consistent, show love, continue to show love, regardless of whether they reject you or they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So authenticity, very important, very important. Consistency, I'm glad you brought that up.
Remain consistent.
Consistent, right? Which is very difficult, right? It is. It takes a lot of work to be consistent. And
genuine too.
genuine, yeah. So we're not asking for anybody to be fake or anything like that. We're asking for you to be authentic, right? And some people, you know, you're not going to understand them. It is what it is, right? But some people, I think you will, and I think you can try. So, very good. Anything else before we get kind of into the meat of this topic? All right. So he brought up this 3-step process from his compassion statement, right? Human needs. And this is very similar if you've done any kind of like intro to psychology class, right? The hierarchy of needs, right? And that's the kind of way he calls it life condition, relational, and then spiritual formation. You know, I think of this as like physical needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, right? Whatever, right? We call it different things. But it's definitely true. Because how are you going to interact with somebody at a spiritual level if they're starving, right? It's hard to get past that barrier, the first step, if you can't get, you know, through that physical challenge. Now, we as Baptists, I think we've got, you know, food covered, right? We don't have to worry about that. But there's still a lot of other physical needs. For example, in the video, she was talking about the lady that he was interviewing driving people around to doctor's appointments. That is a physical need, right? You need to go to the doctor. You want to feel well. You don't want to have, you know, sickness and illness. That's a physical need. Housing needs, physical need. Clothing needs, physical need. All these things are, you know, kind of physical needs. Or you can even expand that all the kids started school this past couple weeks, right? Physical needs would be included anything that they need for school, pencils, pens, paper, right? If you want to fit in, right, with the crowd, and you don't have any pencils or paper, that you can extrapolate that to a physical need, right? Just like if you wouldn't want to send your kids to school with like holy clothes and, you know, torn clothes, dirty clothes, stuff like that. Physical need. So let's be aware of where people are when we meet them. Do they have their physical needs met? Most people that we meet do, technically. But you never know. You never know. People are very good about, you know, keeping up appearances. And so you just never know. So don't assume anything. Next would be the relational needs. Human beings are created. We have a need to interact with one another. And if you meet people that say that they don't have that need, what they're really saying is they've interacted with bad people, right? They don't want to interact with ungenuine people. But most people are built to have some kind of relationship. We want to get out and meet. Think of the COVID shutdowns, right? When we're all kind of cooped up. I think we all found out that it's good to get out every once in a while. And I am like the world's biggest introvert. And even I was getting a little stir crazy. It's like, I need to get out of here. I need to, you know, do something, see somebody. And so you have that relational need, which I think is a great place for the church to interact, right? Because we can have these groups. We're all here. We all have a commonality here in that we want to serve the Lord more efficiently, more effectively. We want to learn more, do more, be the best that we can be. That's our commonality. When we come into the service, we'll have a different commonality. We all want to worship the same God. We all want to, you know, come in here to hear the message, to learn more. And then we have other groups. You could think of say a men's breakfast. Now that's it's unfortunate because we started like the very base commonality. We're all men, right? Which is like, okay, I guess we can start there. I'd like to start a little bit further up the chain if we can. Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. He had a doctor's appointment this morning. That's why he's got a double ear infection. And he and us, and Tiffany mainly, were up all hours of the night. But he's ready to go, so.
Feeling a little better.
Yeah, I think they got him fixed up. So relational needs, we all have these. And this is, I think, a place where the church can step in. We see this in our society a lot. There's all kinds of groups. And you start a new job. That's a group of people you're all working with. You have a commonality. We're working for this company. Political affiliations, Republican or Democrat, you're identifying with a group. Groups that, you know, around the community. We have Cattlemen's Association, for example, right? We all have these, and you don't have to belong to just one, right? You can belong to multiple. But some people are isolated. As you heard in the video, that she was working in a 21-day facility, which is like a temporary facility for people to either get out of a dangerous situation or kind of a transition step. Well, that is, there's a commonality there. Now, what commonality would you have? You're not in a transitionary period. You're going to have to search, you got to find a commonality to build a relationship on top of, okay? Just like, building a foundation for a house. You got to have something to start with. You got to lay the foundation, and then you can go up. And what is that going to be? That's the challenge, because it depends. It depends on the person, depends on the circumstance, depends on you, right? We're all different. And then finally, right, we can get to where we want to go, which is the spiritual level. How do we talk about spiritual levels without having those other levels fulfilled or, sustained? And then where do we go from there? And then kind of jumping ahead of ourselves, there's levels in that, which we'll talk about from the next section. But you see, like, there's a progression, right? We got to get to this point. Now, this is general advice. Some people are in different circumstances. For example, dealing with the hospital a lot. Some people, their physical needs are going downhill, but yet they're ready to talk on a spiritual level. So this is in general practice. It's not for every day, or not every case 100% of the time, but in general, this is the vast majority of cases. So I'm looking around, and I'm trying to find a commonality outside of church, and I'm looking around. I see we've got 3 blue shirts. We have 3 women, 2 men, or 3 and 3 if you're including me. If we were to, try to communicate or build a relationship with one another, how would we do that? And let's keep things a little bit easier. Focus on, I'm trying to make a relationship with you, and you're trying to make a relationship with me. Don't try to crisscross back and forth. That'll be too confusing for a class setting. How would you, not knowing me, even strike up a conversation?
Personally, do you shake their hand and tell them who you are and ask them how their day is?
Okay. Nice to meet you, Marie. My name is Clint Davis. I'm okay. I'm doing well.
Yeah, and just expound on that, like, hey, where do you live? How were you raised? Just see if you have things in common.
Okay. So,
And then try to build on that.
okay. So let's take the assumption I'm new to this church, and you're welcoming me. Hey, where you from? I'm from Sharpsburg. I'm from Thomas Crossroads area. Next step.
Yeah, because you can tell an introvert from an
I'm an introvert, so I'm giving bare minimum question or bare minimum answers.
Yeah, when
Right?
they're giving you an answer, you can almost tell they're an introvert.
Yeah. Okay. So very good.
And if you can pick up on that, then you can actually extend more of the conversation in a different way.
Okay.
You would ask-
Get them to talk more.
Okay. So you're going to have to pull more for an introvert.
Yeah, you would ask open-ended questions that required more than a yes or no.
Okay. Open-ended questions. Yeah.
Tell me more about you.
Okay. I don't know you, lady.
I think you have to share something
Okay.
personal before you
Yeah.
ask them to.
Okay.
That's
I
question.
I was raised in Moreland, I've lived here my whole life. So right up the street in Moreland, I grew up, and I've been in the area pretty much my whole life, and I've got family in Luthersville.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. And we're kind of at a standstill, right? Right?
So then I get Bobby and I say,
Okay, so you knock Bobby. Bobby's going to come up. Okay, so take a look at me. I wore this for a specific reason. You look at what I'm wearing. I've got tennis shoes, okay? Kind of black, but they got a pop of color. Okay. I mean, they're not just like white Adidas, right? I'm wearing tennis shoes. I've got on dark, clean jeans. And then you move up, you see I've got a ring, so I'm married. You can infer that. Glasses. I don't really have any identifying characteristics. You don't see any tattoos or anything like that. But you do see this shirt with this image on it.
You're a gamer.
Okay. And you recognize what this is. Do you? Okay. It's from a video game. So that tells you something about me. An old video game and a new video game. So this, by itself, should tell you something about me. This is from my personal collection. I don't normally wear this to church, but I wore it today for this lesson. And so now you could say, now, you may not be into video games. You may not know much about video games, but you see it now. And you take note of it, and maybe you look it up. What is Super Mario? what are these characters, right? And if you're in the know, right, you got Yoshi and Mario and Luigi, right? And you look this up and you be like, hey, you play Super Mario? Man, I played that way back in the day. You know, and you can talk about that. That's something to move forward from the hi, how are you, where you from, right, kind of thing. Now I'm looking at, from the inverse side, I'm looking out. And I don't see really identifying characteristics, right? I don't see tattoos. I don't see any like brand logos. I mean, I see polo. Okay, you're at church, a nice formal. You want to be formal, but you don't want to be too formal, right? Because it's hot. That's what I learned about Bobby, just looking at it.
See, this is deceiving.
Okay.
My wife makes me wear this, not me.
Okay. Fair enough. So I'm in the ballpark because you're not coming in like a full suit. Okay. So I'm looking at David. He's got his nice button up. You know, he got some khakis. Looking at his shoes, boots. Okay. That's cool. So we're learning something about David. Well groomed. Okay. Fairly well groomed. I also need a haircut. Right? And so I'm looking around at you, and I'm making judgment calls. Right? Now, whether you like that or not, we do it all the time. And I say, is Bobby a nice... Bobby's kind of had a smirk on his face this whole time. He's ready to go. Like, Bobby has a welcoming kind of personality. I look at Debbie, and Debbie's like, where's this going? Like what's coming on, right? And so and that's fine. Some people are like that, and you know, I'm like that personally. Like, what's the catch, right?
See, you want me to bob and weave move.
Yeah.
And I look at your shirt, and I'm thinking, he's definitely a man with children.
Children, okay, fair enough. I am a man with children. Something that we didn't get to in our previous discussion, and that would be a big part of somebody's life. So, you know, we're all here. You know, I can see obviously the big outward factors: male, female, race, you know, things like that. So be looking